Okay, so in the very first video, we showed you the definition of scarcity, economics, and social sciences. In the previous video, we just tried to develop an intuitive understanding, not a technical one, but an intuitive understanding of what scarcity is and how prices reflect scarcity. So in this video, and as you can see now, 3 videos on economics and 3 of them on scarcity. Scarcity is the principle underpinning all of economic study. So we're not going to look at just scarcity, but we're going to talk about choice, because scarcity leads into choice, and therefore this idea of opportunity cost. Now, everything is fine. I hope that's true, but I want you to get into your mind that in economics, everything is scarce. Okay, so everything is scarce. Now, don't forget, it's our inability to satisfy all of our wants and desires. That's what scarcity is. That's the reason why economics has the nickname the dismal science. It's dismal because we're telling people that you can't have everything that you want, and that is not a happy thing. All right, now, but be grateful for what you do have. So the idea of scarcity is obvious in poorer parts of the world. Okay, so, you know, a bottle of water in the desert, I think that's rather poignant, and it is. But when you look at these harrowing images of children suffering and stuff like that, you can see that there is a huge amount of scarcity. There are people that have needs, not just wants, but needs that aren't being met, okay? I also think that there's an incredibly brave thing about this, that this child is smiling even though he's living in such deprivation. I think it's a wonderful statement for the human spirit, but still the scarcity is obvious. Now, you must forgive me, okay? So I'm Irish, so I decided to take this little bit of an example. This is where I am from here, all right? And if we look at in 2017, the top 10 richest countries in the world, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Ireland was 6th on that list in terms of average income per capita, per person. So therefore, you can't say that there's any kind of scarcity in Ireland. We're the 6th richest in the world in 2017. So in 2017, of course there's no scarcity in Ireland. Look at these fancy malls that we have here. Dundrum Shopping Centre, great place to while away a Saturday afternoon. Well, the unfortunate thing is that scarcity exists everywhere. Now, what I mean by scarcity in terms of goods and services that you want. So, I mean, personally, I don't want a punch in the face. So even anything above 0 is too much for me, right? So the idea is, because I don't like them, but things that I do want, things that I do like, and most people in the world like, are scarce. Now, why are they scarce? Because essentially everyone, everywhere, always wants what? More and better goods and services. Now, I understand that this is the start of your economic study, and I don't want to confuse anybody. But what I will say is that people have infinite wants but limited income. There is a mini-series in this playlist called Money and Wealth, and there's 5 episodes where I really try to explain what wealth is at a macroeconomic level and the link between money and prices. But right now, just think about yourself. You have infinite wants. You say, no, I don't. Right. Would you like this house if it were for free? I would imagine that the vast majority of you, if not everybody on the planet, would say yes. Would you like this house if it were for free? I would again imagine that the vast majority of you would say yes. These are wants. We're not worrying about our ability to pay for them. We just know that we want them. Okay, would you like this TV? Would you like this car? Would you even like this fleet of cars? You, and I would imagine that the vast majority of people in the world would say yes to them if they were free. Well, what's the problem? They're not free. Now, why? We have infinite wants, but instead of limited income, I'm just going to throw out an idea that we're going to delve into much deeper in later videos. Instead of limited income, we have limited ability to satisfy those wants, because these had to be produced in the factory. And if there, for argument's sake, 8 billion people in the world, I have no idea how many there are, but if for argument's sake there are 8 billion people in the world, there are not 8 billion of these cars. There are not 8 billion of those fancy houses. There are not 8 billion of those fancy TVs. Okay, so we have not produced them, and we have to produce them in order to use them, in order to live in them, in order to drive them, in order to watch them. And if we haven't produced 8 billion, that means that there are some people that must go without, bringing us back to scarcity. All right, now, if I can kind of take this, I suppose, a little bit further and just think about, we say, oh, we're not being charitable enough. Yeah, probably right. 100% true. We're probably not being charitable enough, but that's still not the issue. All right, so who would like to live on the California coast, at least in Southern California? I would absolutely love to. And I would imagine the vast majority of people, again, if you'll forgive me, would like a well-built, nice, big house on the California coast, if it were for free. But think about this. There is not enough of the California coast to build 8 billion well-built, relatively nice and sizable houses. So therefore, what I want you to understand is if there's not enough space on the California coast for everybody in the world to have a house, then maybe there is a limit of our ability to satisfy everybody's wants. Okay, now I hope I haven't gone too much into that. Now, yes, you can think about money, but I'm going to really try and change your thinking in later videos. Our income is never big enough to satisfy our wants. Now, let's think about this. Our ability to produce these goods and services like houses on the California coast or Ferraris for everybody in the world is not big enough in order to be able to produce 8 billion of them. So that means that there will be a disappointment. That means that somebody will go without. Now, I have used trivial examples, but think about food and it stops being trivial. Scarcity. All right. So when we have infinite wants and limited income, then what that means is that some of our needs and wants are going to go unsatisfied. Well, what satisfies our needs and wants? Well, basically, we have to make something in order to consume it. We have to make something in order to enjoy it. Okay, and what's the name of the collective 4 categories that make goods and services? Well, they are called the factors of production. So I said we haven't made enough Ferraris, we haven't made enough houses, we haven't made enough fancy TVs. So why not produce an infinite amount? And the reason why I say an infinite amount is because we have infinite desires, wants and needs. So why not produce an infinite amount? Now, I hope you can see through the fallacy of that question, because we simply can't. Right? The factors of production which produce the goods and services that you and I enjoy are limited in number and also limited in their ability to produce. So therefore, because of this limitation in the ability to satisfy our needs and our wants, I'm sorry, but we can't have everything we want. So if we have infinite wants and we can never produce enough, we can never satisfy, as a society, as a country, as a planet, even if we go to interstellar travel, okay, we can never produce enough to satisfy our infinite wants, well then we will never have all that we want. And that is bad news. So what does that mean? We must make choices. If we can't have everything that we want, what we have to do is try and get the most happiness from what we can afford. Okay, that's the idea. Now that's what scarcity is. It's making do, the realization, the accepting as an adult should that you cannot have everything you want. But again, the understanding in terms of economics why you can't. Because it's the factors of production that produce the things that we want and they are limited. That's it. Now, I know you're probably saying, oh, just earn more money. No, there's limits. You look at somebody like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, who's no longer with us, Warren Buffett. They can't buy all of the United States. And then you may say, oh, well, they just need to work harder. No, it's not that simple, guys, okay? Now, what we've talked about scarcity means that when compared to our infinite wants and needs, see, here's the factors of production. We have finite ability to satisfy these unlimited wants and needs. Our ability to satisfy those needs just unfortunately fails. Now, the good news is that we can get some of the things that we want. But don't forget, I'm going to give you a few definitions now, but we have to understand what scarcity is. Now, I know I'm repeating myself from a previous video, but it is important. This is the limited ability of economic resources, factors of production, land, labour, capital, and enterprise, relative to society's unlimited demand for goods and services. And don't get me wrong, I understand you might be saying, but John, it's about money. Okay, that's fine. Just wait until you've watched Money and Wealth 1 to 5 in this playlist. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is if you just forget about money, just put money to the side for the moment and say if we were living on a desert island or a tropical island, let's make it happier, and there's only 100 of us, we have infinite wants, but our ability to satisfy those infinite wants is limited by what we can produce. There's no money on the island, we're all in it together, okay? So therefore, if you can up-level that to an entire country, everybody has unlimited wants, but our limited ability to satisfy those wants will ultimately lead into the idea of scarcity. Now, a few of these. Now, definition of goods. Okay, I'll go through these quickly. You can pause the video at any stage or rewatch it. It's fine. Okay, so physical or tangible objects that are capable of being touched, such as cars, water bottles, or plants. Okay, anything. Think of anything that you can physically touch, and that's a good. Now, it's an economic good if it's scarce, which every good thing is, provides utility and is transferable. A good is transferable. Okay, a service, which is a non-physical or intangible thing that cannot be touched, such as car repairs, lawyer services, or what I'm doing right now, which is education. Yes, you can touch your laptop or whatever device you're watching this on, but the service that I'm providing is non-tangible. You can't touch it. Okay, and again, if these provide utility or happiness, and this provides utility or happiness, it's an economic good or service, and there is a video on that later on the playlist. Now, what are wants and what are needs? Wants are things that we would like to have but are not necessary for our immediate physical survival. Okay, such as anything beyond subsistence is a want. Okay, so we need we don't need theatre tickets, even though they can be nice. We don't need cars. We don't even need a bus journey. We can walk most places. Okay, these are wants, all right? But needs are things that we must have to survive. Food, shelter, clothing, water, whatever. Okay? Now, resources, you will hear me use this term resources a lot. Goods used to produce other goods. Land, labour, capital, and enterprise. Also known as the factors of production. When I say resources, I mean the factors of production, and when I say factors of production, I mean resources. I shall use those terms interchangeably. Now, I am sorry, but that's not the end of the video. We don't have enough money to buy what we want. I know I'm saying money, but try and understand that we're talking about our ability to produce, which affects our ability to consume. Therefore, but just if you understand it in terms of money, because we don't have enough money, we don't have enough money to buy everything. We don't have enough money to buy the world. Okay, we have to make a choice. And what is a choice? A choice means giving up one thing, because our income is limited. Okay, we can't afford to buy everything that we want, assuming we want infinite amount. A choice means giving up one thing so we can have something else. Limited resources, or factors of production, or the ability of factors of production to produce the goods and services that you and I enjoy, means that incomes are scarce and choices must be made. Okay, that's what we're saying. Now, in order to make these choices just nice and quick, and I know I'm going quick and I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, okay, but in order to make these choices, consumer rank their desires. What do I want? Buy the most desired or most important thing first, second most desired or most important thing second, and so on, so on. This continues until all your money is spent. All right, now don't forget, people say, no, my parents save, I know loads of people that save. You're wrong. In economics, we do get around this by saying you can spend your money on savings. Okay, please don't forget that. Now, this idea of opportunity cost. So let's look at this, okay? The definition first, but yes, I am coming to the chocolate. Opportunity cost is the cost of foregone alternatives involved in making a choice. Now, what does that mean, right? Now, let's look at these lovely posters that the kids drew, right? If you only have enough money for an iPod or a TV, and this person said, I would rather have the iPod, so I buy the iPod, and therefore the TV is the opportunity cost. It is the alternative foregone when you made a choice because of limited factors of production or limited income. To put it in English, it's what you didn't choose. So if you want that A in your exam, the opportunity cost of getting that A is free time or watching TV. If you want to watch TV, the opportunity cost of watching that TV is getting that A. All right, now it does depend on your intelligence, so on and so forth, but I know most of us anyway need to study. Now, if we look at 2 bars of chocolate, I go into the shops, I have very little money, I can only afford one. I have ranked my preferences, even assuming they're the same price. I choose the Mars bar. I can only afford one, as I've said. That means that I didn't choose the Snickers. In this example, the Snickers is the opportunity cost. It's what I gave up. Okay? That's what opportunity cost is. Now, a great rule of thumb is to say there's an opportunity cost to every decision. It will force your mind to think more and more like an economist. Now, we've done quite a bit in this video. We've looked at a number of definitions and a number of ideas. I hope I haven't gone too fast, but I want now to finish off the video bringing them all together. The concepts of scarcity, which is we can never have as much as we want, which leads on to choice because we can't have as much as we want, so we have to choose, and therefore leads on to opportunity cost because we have to give something up when we make a choice. Now, these concepts, scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost, are central to the study of economics because economics studies the allocation of scarce resources, factors of production, which have alternative uses. So even if you're just looking at a command economy and the government's in charge of everything, well, should we build a hospital or should we build the school? We don't have enough resources for both. You say, oh yeah, we do, a country's big. Okay, so should we build 100 hospitals or should we build 100 schools? Should we build 50 and 50? All right? These resources, these construction resources, the timber, the cement, the architects, the engineers, the builders themselves, the plumbing, the copper wiring, all of that have alternative uses. Okay, what if we've got loads of hospitals and schools? Why shouldn't we just build a movie theatre? All right, all of these things have alternative uses. And the allocation of these resources involve making a choice, the school or the hospital. Now, with this choice, we incur a cost, and with that, we incur an opportunity cost. Okay, now guys, the last few things here, just a quick bit of a recap. What is an opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is the next best alternative foregone when an economic decision is being made. Essentially, it's what you didn't choose. It's what you gave up because scarcity exists, so we had to make a choice, so therefore there's an opportunity cost. And the factors of production, otherwise known as resources as well in economics, the four resources that allow an economy to produce its output: land, labour, capital, and I say enterprise, all right, but entrepreneurship. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helps, and I really do hope to see you in the next video.